Welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Always a pleasure.
Today we are tackling something
Yes.
that I know a lot of our listeners are eager to improve. And that's English pronunciation.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the source material we have for this one
Okay.
is both hilarious and insightful.
All right.
It's a simulated conversation between an English coach
Okay.
and a learner who makes a pretty relatable mistake.
Okay.
Instead of asking for a sheet of paper, they accidentally say,
Oh, no.
a sheet of paper.
Oh, dear. I can only imagine that was an awkward moment.
Yeah.
You know? It perfectly highlights why pronunciation matters.
Right.
It's not just about sounding perfect
Yeah.
or impressing native speakers.
Yeah.
It's about avoiding those kinds of misunderstanding
Yeah,
that can lead to some truly cringeworthy situations.
exactly. And beyond avoiding embarrassment,
Yeah.
think about the boost in confidence you'll feel when you can truly own your words. That's what this deep dive is all about.
Okay.
Helping you communicate clearly and confidently.
Right.
And you know what?
Yeah.
The source lays out a really practical 7-step approach.
Wow.
And we're going to unpack each one.
Okay, sounds good. The first step might seem a bit counterintuitive,
Okay.
but it's crucial.
All right.
Train your ears before you even worry about your mouth.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah,
It's like learning a musical instrument.
right.
You need to be able to hear the notes
Yeah,
before you can play them.
exactly.
But how do we actually train our ears to hear the nuances of English pronunciation?
Immersion is key.
Okay.
The source recommends surrounding yourself with authentic English content.
Okay.
And the beauty is,
Yeah.
you can tailor this to your interests.
Okay.
Do you love true crime podcasts?
Oh, yeah.
Binge watch British sitcoms?
Sure.
There's an endless supply of engaging material out there.
So you're saying instead of just passively listening, I should be actively paying attention to how things are being said,
Yeah.
like the rhythm, the intonation,
Yes.
the way certain sounds are connected.
Precisely. Think of it like learning a new dance.
Okay.
You need to feel the beat, understand the steps, and then practice until it feels natural. English pronunciation is similar.
Okay.
It has its own music and flow.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Good.
So once we've trained our ears, what's the next step?
Then it's time to focus on those individual sounds that might be tripping you up. The source uses the us sound as an example,
Okay.
which I know can be a real challenge for some learners.
Right.
They mention a student who keeps saying tink instead of think.
Oh, yeah.
And the coach offers a brilliant tip.
Hmm.
Place your tongue between your teeth and blow air.
I've heard that tip before.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, it always feels a bit strange at first.
Yeah, it can.
Have you seen that technique click for your students?
Oh,
Does it really help people get that found down?
It absolutely does.
Wow.
It might feel awkward initially,
Sure.
but it really helps train your mouth to form the sound correctly. And here's the thing.
What's that?
The source emphasizes that even tiny consistent efforts can make a huge difference. Practicing for just 5 repetitions a day, focusing on one specific sound, can lead to real progress.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that we don't need to overwhelm ourselves
Right.
with hours of practice.
Exactly.
Small, consistent steps are the way to go.
Absolutely.
So what's next on this pronunciation journey?
Well, now that we're getting a handle on those individual sounds,
Yes.
the source introduces a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah.
That sounds intriguing.
It is.
What exactly does that involve?
Imagine you're an echo
Okay.
trying to perfectly mimic the sounds you hear.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to a native speaker
Okay.
and simultaneously repeat what they're saying, paying close attention to their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation.
So it's like actively copying their speech patterns.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds like a great way to put all those ear training skills to work.
The
Any suggestions for good shadowing material?
source mentions audiobooks and TED Talks,
Mhm.
which are excellent choices,
Mhm.
but they also recommend something a little more unexpected.
Oh, really?
Cartoons.
Cartoons.
Yes.
That's interesting.
It is.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
Why cartoons specifically?
Because cartoons often exaggerate pronunciation,
Okay.
making it easier to hear and imitate those sounds.
Right.
It's like a fun, amplified version of real speech.
Okay, I'm starting to see the logic here.
Good.
It's about making the learning process enjoyable, right?
Yeah,
Because if you're having fun, you're more likely to stick with it.
absolutely.
What's next on this pronunciation adventure?
Now we move on to a crucial aspect of English pronunciation
Okay.
that often trips up learners:
Right?
word stress and rhythm.
Ah, yes. The music of the language.
Exactly.
Something I struggle with myself sometimes.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
Can you elaborate on why word stress is so important?
Think about it this way. English isn't spoken in a monotone.
Right.
Certain syllables in a word are emphasized more than others.
Mm-hmm.
And this creates a natural flow and rhythm.
Okay.
The source uses the word banana as an example.
Right.
If you stress the first syllable, it sounds off, like B-A-nana.
G-E nana.
But when you stress the second syllable, banana,
Balonna.
it sounds much more natural.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It seems so simple,
Right.
but it makes a huge difference in how the word sounds.
It does.
Is there a trick to knowing which syllable to stress?
Unfortunately, there aren't hard and fast rules.
Okay.
And it can be a bit tricky at first.
Right.
But the more you listen to native speakers
Yeah.
and practice, the more you'll start to pick up on these patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a key insight from the source. English speakers don't pronounce every syllable with equal emphasis. Some syllables are stressed, while others are reduced or almost silent.
So it's not just about pronouncing each sound correctly.
No.
It's about understanding the entire symphony of the word, right?
Yes.
Emphasizing the right syllables, softening others, and letting the whole thing flow together.
Exactly. It's about mastering the rhythm and intonation of the language.
Okay.
And that's what really makes your English sound natural and fluent.
Awesome. So we've trained our ears, mastered some tricky sounds, and even tried our hand at shadowing. What's the next step in this pronunciation makeover?
Now it's time to face our fears
Oh.
and do something that can be a bit uncomfortable, even for native speakers.
I think I know where this is going.
Record ourselves.
I knew this was coming.
I know, right?
I have to admit, I'm not a fan of hearing my own voice.
I get it.
But I get it. You need to hear how you actually sound
Yeah,
to pinpoint areas that need work.
exactly. It's like looking in a mirror for your pronunciation.
Right.
The source points out that many people avoid recording themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Because it can be cringeworthy.
Probably.
But it's honestly one of the most valuable tools
Okay.
for identifying those subtle habits or inconsistencies that we might not even be aware of.
So how do we make this process less painful?
Well,
Any tips for getting over that initial, ooh, is that really me feeling?
start small.
Okay.
Record yourself reading a short paragraph, maybe even just a sentence. Focus on one specific sound or aspect of pronunciation you've been working on.
Go.
And remember, you don't have to share these recordings with anyone.
Right.
They're just for your own self-assessment.
That's good advice. Okay. I'm feeling a bit more brave about this recording thing.
Good.
But once we've recorded ourselves, how do we actually analyze our pronunciation?
Well, you can definitely listen back and try to catch any glaring errors.
Okay.
But technology can also lend a helping hand.
All right. How so?
The source recommends some pronunciation apps, specifically designed to give you objective feedback. They mention ELSA and Youglish as great options.
I've heard of those. I think I even downloaded one once.
Yeah.
But I got a bit overwhelmed with all the features and exercises.
Sure, I understand.
How do these apps actually help with pronunciation?
They're basically like having a digital pronunciation coach in your pocket.
Okay, cool.
You can record yourself speaking words or phrases, and the app analyzes your pronunciation, highlighting areas where you need improvement.
Okay.
They often offer targeted exercises and feedback to help you refine specific sounds or aspects of your speech.
So it takes the guesswork out of it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of wondering if you're saying something correctly, you get instant feedback and personalized guidance. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. It makes it much more efficient.
Okay, what's next on this pronunciation journey?
Now it's time to inject some fun into the learning process
Okay.
with a classic technique, tongue twisters.
Ah, yes, those delightful phrases designed to twist our tongues into knots. But honestly, they are kind of fun, and I remember doing them in school.
Yeah.
Is there a real benefit to using tongue twisters?
There is.
Or are they just a silly way to pass the time?
They're definitely fun,
Okay.
but they also serve a real purpose.
All right, what's that?
Tongue twisters force you to articulate clearly and pay close attention to each sound.
Right.
They challenge your mouth muscles and help you develop bigger control over your pronunciation.
Okay.
The source uses the classic "She sells seashells by the seashore"
Oh, yeah, a
to
classic.
illustrate this point.
It's a mouthful, right?
It is.
I still trip over that one sometimes.
No, me too sometimes.
And it's funny because even native speakers can struggle with tongue twisters.
Oh, absolutely.
They're like a universal pronunciation challenge.
Exactly. And the best part is you can practice tongue twisters anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Waiting for the bus, standing in line at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Turn those moments into mini pronunciation workouts.
I love that idea, sneaking in pronunciation practice throughout the day. It's a great way to make it a habit,
It is.
not just something you do occasionally.
Right.
Speaking of habits, I know the next step is all about consistency.
You got it. The final and arguably most important step
Hmm.
is to be patient and keep practicing.
Okay.
It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see results overnight,
For sure.
but consistency is key when it comes to pronunciation improvement.
Right.
The source emphasizes that even just 10 minutes of daily practice
A minute.
can make a significant difference over time.
That's really reassuring. 10 minutes is totally doable,
Yeah,
even on busy days.
exactly.
But what if you hit a plateau?
Mm.
Like you're practicing consistently, but you don't feel like you're making any progress.
Sure.
What advice does the source offer for those moments?
They emphasize that progress isn't always linear.
Mm,
Some days you'll feel like you're nailing it,
Right.
and other days you'll stumble and feel frustrated.
yeah.
That's totally normal.
Okay.
The key is to not give up. Embrace the journey and celebrate those small wins along the way.
Oh,
Even if it's just mastering one new sound
yeah.
or finally getting that tongue twister right,
Right.
every little victory counts.
That's such an important reminder.
Yeah,
I think we often put so much pressure on ourselves
I agree.
to see immediate results.
Right.
But language learning is a marathon, not a sprint.
It is a marathon.
It's about making that consistent effort and enjoying the process along the way.
Absolutely. And the source leaves us with a powerful four-word mantra.
Okay, I like mantras.
Sum it all up.
All right, hit me with it.
Listen, repeat, record, and practice.
Those 4 words really encapsulate the essence of pronunciation improvement.
They do.
It's a cycle of actively listening, imitating what you hear,
Yeah,
analyzing your own speech, and then putting it all into practice again and again.
exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored 7 actionable steps to improve English pronunciation. From training our ears to tackling those tricky tongue twisters.
It's been a journey.
But before we wrap things up, I'm curious,
Yeah.
what really resonated with you from this deep dive?
You know what struck me is how the source reframes pronunciation
Okay.
as more than just a technical skill.
Right.
They emphasize the emotional aspect,
Mhm.
the confidence that comes from truly owning your voice
Yeah.
and expressing yourself clearly.
Right.
I think that's so important for learners to remember.
It is.
It's not just about sounding perfect. It's
Yeah.
about finding your voice and feeling empowered to communicate.
I completely agree. And that focus on confidence really
Ah.
resonated with me as well.
Yeah,
Because when you feel good about how you sound, it changes everything.
it does.
You're more likely to speak up in class, participate in conversations, and connect with others on a deeper level.
Exactly. It breaks down those barriers
Right.
and opens up so many possibilities.
For sure. And speaking of embracing joy,
Yes.
I have a thought that builds upon what the source discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
They mentioned using cartoons for shadowing practice
Oh.
because of their exaggerated pronunciation.
Yeah, I loved that idea.
It's like sneaking in pronunciation practice while watching something fun.
Exactly. But it got me thinking,
Okay.
how else can we leverage entertainment to make pronunciation practice feel less like work and more like play?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this. Give me some examples.
Well, think about songs.
Okay.
Music is filled with repetition and rhythm, making it a fantastic tool for practicing pronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget about movies.
Right.
You can choose films with clear dialogue and even use subtitles to follow along.
That's a good idea.
And for those who enjoy a good laugh, stand-up comedy routines can be incredibly helpful
Oh, yeah.
for understanding the nuances of humor and delivery,
Yeah.
including those subtle pronunciation choices that comedians use to land their jokes.
I love all of those ideas. It's about making pronunciation practice a natural part of your everyday life.
It is.
Instead of feeling like a chore, it becomes something you enjoy and look forward to.
Exactly, and I think that's the key takeaway here. Find those fun and engaging ways to immerse yourself in English. And make pronunciation practice an enjoyable part of your language learning journey,
Right?
because the more you expose yourself to the sounds and rhythms of English, the more natural and effortless your pronunciation will become.
It's like sneaking in pronunciation practice while having fun.
Right.
Who knew learning could be so enjoyable?
Exactly. And it really doesn't have to be a chore.
Yeah.
When you're engaged and entertained, you're more likely to stick with it.
Right. It's not about forcing yourself to do drills.
No.
It's about finding those moments of joy that reinforce your learning.
Exactly.
So to wrap up this deep dive into pronunciation improvement,
Okay.
let's recap those 7 key steps we've discussed today.
Sounds good. First, train your ears.
Right.
Immerse yourself in authentic English content.
Yeah. Podcasts, movies, music,
Exactly.
anything that sparks your interest.
Anything you enjoy.
Okay. Then focus on mastering those individual sounds.
Yes, those tricky sounds.
Remember that youth example?
Yes, the youth sound.
Tiny tweaks in tongue placement can make a world of difference.
They really can. Next up, embrace the power of shadowing.
Okay.
Mimic native speakers like an echo.
Right, like an echo.
Try it with cartoons, TED Talks, or even your favorite audiobook.
Lots of options.
Lots of options.
Okay, don't forget about word stress and rhythm.
Oh, yes, the music of the language.
Right, it's the music of the language that brings your speech to life.
It does.
Think banana, not B-A-nana.
Exactly. Banana. It makes a difference.
It does.
Okay. Record yourself, even though it might feel a bit awkward at first.
I know I hate doing it.
I know a lot of people do.
But
it's the best way to pinpoint areas where you can improve.
okay, true. And there's some fantastic apps that can help analyze your pronunciation,
There are.
like we talked about.
Exactly.
Okay, embrace the fun of tongue twisters.
Yes, tongue twisters.
They're like mini workouts for your mouth muscles,
They are.
and you can do them anywhere, anytime.
Exactly, whenever you have a free moment. And finally, remember the most important step of all.
Okay, what's that?
Be patient and keep practicing.
Okay.
Even small, consistent efforts will pay off in the long run.
I love that. So 7 steps to better English pronunciation.
7 steps.
We've covered a lot of ground today, and I, for one, am feeling very inspired.
Me too. And you know what?
Actually,
I think the key takeaway for me is that it's really about finding what works for you.
right.
And making it fun.
Yeah, finding those things that you enjoy.
Exactly, because when you enjoy it, you're going to do it more.
It won't feel like a chore.
Exactly. It'll become a natural part of your life.
So to all of our listeners out there,
Yes.
keep practicing, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep having fun with English.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy learning.